Kyoya, ex-outgoing reader, last part. The next time I arrived at the host club, Kyoya had a camera and was snapping pictures of the host club. As soon as I approached him, he took a picture of me while I had my cheeks puffed out. Making silly faces is definitely my calling. What's with the camera, Count Dracula? I asked casually, calling him by the name I've chosen for the day. It didn't seem to faze his cool demeanor though. I develop them and sell them to customers. It brings in much more profit than one would presume, he stated matter-of-factly. I nodded my head and pretended to stroke my imaginary mustache to look professional. Suddenly I heard the door open and none other than Missy showed up. She walked straight towards Kyoya and opened her mouth rather shyly. I would like to request a visit with host Wyan, she said before pushing her red hair behind her ear. Kyoya did nothing but nod and write down something. He then pointed to me with his pen and walked away without a word. What got his pen is in a twist. I then turned to the subject at hand, Missy, and bowed dramatically at her, and then made a silly face causing her to giggle and blush. Wow, never saw that coming, I thought before I went into character. Your eyes drive me wild, but I'd let you tame my heart any day, love, I said, pulling her chin towards me when she tried to look away. I saw a flash and looked up, very confused to see Kyoya behind the camera. He gave his business smile before turning around, the camera still in hand. This gave me a clever idea. I'm sorry, but I must go on an adventure. Forgive me? I asked, looking back at Missy before I left her there in a trance that didn't seem to be fading anytime soon. As I approached Count Dracula, I was humming the James Bond theme song. He turned around as soon as he heard it. Curse me and my need for background music, I scolded myself. As he stood there confused, I took the opportunity to grab the camera. I heard him shout as I dashed the other way. I heard his footsteps behind me and took that moment to turn around for a second to snap a photo of him. What's wrong? Worried I'll reveal your secret, you bloodsucker? You won't show up in the photograph, will you? I shouted as I ran from him. I could have sworn I saw him smile too, an actual smile with emotion. At that moment, two legs, probably belonging to the two mischievous gingers, sprung out in front of him. He fell face first to the ground with a oomph. I stopped and jogged towards him to make sure he was okay. As I approached his body, the legs that tripped him then tripped me, causing me to fall on top of Kyoya. I was about to sputter an apology when I heard him laugh. It was deep, but it spread, and I started to laugh too. When we stopped, I looked up at him and took the opportunity to snap a photo. I got off of him and he followed before straightening out his uniform. He cleared his throat and held out his hand to show me he wanted me to give him back his property. His calm, natural state showing again. I sighed and handed it back to him. He then turned and walked back towards his laptop. It's totally full of porn, I thought to myself. Wait, bad, Wyan. Try to avoid windows. I've grown fond of you, and watching you turn to ash would be dreadful, I shouted towards him in my theater voice. He only turned around and gave me a smirk before he kept on walking. Time skipped to about 4 months after you met. Kyoya and I took photos together every day after that. He would sometimes sneak ones of just me, and I'd still steal his camera and take ones of him sometimes. I headed into school thinking it was going to be like any other day. To be honest, I always enjoyed being around Kyoya. Although he could become distant and blunt, even emotionally detached, he put up with me every day. I was grateful for him, and whenever he was around, I would feel my smile get wider and my stomach would feel empty. I think it does that to make room for my heart growing. I have arrived. No one panic, especially not you, Dementor, I said before flicking Kyoya's forehead. Everyone gave me a hey or a wave, but Kyoya just grabbed my wrist. I looked at him trying to raise one eyebrow, but I think I ended up looking like I was snarling. He didn't seem fazed by it though, and just pulled me into one of the spare rooms. I knew you liked the dark to match your soul, but why are we in here? I asked, grabbing onto him when he tried to walk away from me. I didn't want him to be too far. I heard him let out a chuckle. I could feel his amusement even in the dark. The dark is where wild things are, Wyan, he said, as if he were quoting something. Where you belong, with me, he continued. And then a bunch of white Christmas lights turned on. Just as I was about to ask him what he meant, I looked up in awe. The lights had photos of us on them from all throughout our time together. There was one with me licking his face, and he looked terrified and disgusted. Another one was just of me with his glasses on, with my tongue out. There was even a few of him looking at the camera with his little black book in hand. I turned to ask him why he had set this up when he handed me a single photo. It was the first one we took together. We were on the floor and he was looking straight at me, smiling one of his rare real smiles. I flipped it over and on the back it said, "The moment I realized," in his fancy cursive. I looked up at him confused before he answered my look. I used to watch you walk around and talk at the host club. I'd always ask myself, what benefit would I have from being with you, for loving you the way I do? That was the moment when it struck me, Wyan, was all he said before he pushed his glasses back up his nose. And what could I possibly have to offer you, Dementor? I asked playfully, to hide the fact that I was about to vomit from excitement. He let out a breathy laugh before he answered me. Happy memories of us together. I want to be in all of them with you. I want you to remember me so I can find them one day and live off of them. It's my nature, apparently. It's in my nature, apparently. He teased back with his breathtaking smile. This one is the first I offer you. It's my happiest yet, I said before I grabbed his sleeve and pulled him close to me. So stay so you can keep me warm forever, he declared before he cupped my face and placed a hand on my lower back. He leaned in and kissed me slowly, as if to memorize every inch of it so he can remember it until the next time he'll get to have my lips against his.